Hello everyone, I'm Frans Vischer and I am an author and illustrator, and I'm also an animator. I illustrated and wrote the Fuddles books that you see behind me, and I also worked on movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, The Road to El Dorado, Princess and the Frog, and more recently Mary Poppins Returns. And I also worked on Frozen. And today I'm going to show you how to draw Olaf. Now, what's nice with drawing snowmen is that they're actually very simple. They're just made of a few snowballs. And as an animator, I had to study how people and animals are put together. I had to study the anatomy. I had to learn how to draw bones and muscles and be able to see how an arm rotates by the muscles and bones underneath. But snowmen don't have bones. Snowmen are just balls of snow, and you can do whatever you want with them. You can turn their bodies, and you can even take their bodies apart or twist them as if they're like water balloons. So, okay, now I have to tell you a few things. So when I'm working on a book, and I'm looking for how to illustrate something, I have to think about the story point. So for this demo, let's pretend that Olaf is in love and he's going to give his loved ones flowers. So what I'm going to do, I draw almost all the time on a computer screen. This is where I do most of my work. So, and what you can do later on is follow me along and drawing on paper, whereas I'm drawing on the computer. So now what I'm going to do is, first of all, I explore the idea of what I want to draw. I think about the story ideas. So here, Olaf is in love, and I'm going to do some quick sketches where I explore the pose that I want to do. So let's say, and I'm just going to do a few quick scribbles. These are not pretty drawings. I'm just figuring out what he's thinking, what he's feeling. So there's his nose. Quick smile. There's one snowball, and there's another. So that's his whole body. He's just two balls of snow, of course. And I'm not too worried about all the detail. I'm really trying to figure out what he is feeling, what he's thinking. So, so here's one arm with just some flowers, just scribbling it in. Maybe his other arm is there. Okay, so that's one idea. That's okay. Let's try another. Let's say now I've got his head tilted back like this, and his eyes are closed. Big smile again. And maybe he's holding the flowers up here. So I don't care if I'm going over my other drawing. I'm just trying to do a lot of quick little drawings where maybe this arm is out here. I'm just exploring the best ways to show his personality, his attitude. Okay, I'm going to try another one. Let's say, you can even do one where his whole body comes apart. Like he's so happy. Yay! Buck teeth, big smile. So I'm just being silly, but I'm just showing that you can just explore different ideas. So, okay, let's try another one. And so here on the computer, I'm using different layers, and at home you can do all this on paper. Okay, so let's try again. I'm going to have him, this time I'm going to have him leaning forward, holding out the flowers. Again, I'm not particularly worried about making a nice drawing. It's more just finding his attitude. So here I've got his body like this leaning forward. And then here comes this arm out. Maybe the flowers are all droopy because it's so cold where he is that maybe they're half frozen, like the title. And his buttons, and okay, I kind of like this one. So, all right. Maybe that arm out there. So, yeah, I kind of like this pose. Okay, so this is my basic idea, and now I'm going to follow this through. So now what I do is I lower the opacity of the drawing. You see that? You can barely see it now. And at home, this is as if you're drawing on tracing paper. So you could do a drawing on one sheet of paper, you put another one over it, and you can still see your original drawing through it. And that kind of becomes your guide for your final drawing. Or when I animate on paper, I draw sometimes lightly, and I, with just a very light line, and then I go over when I am happy with the drawing, then I make a darker line. So I'm going to make a new layer, and now I'm going to draw the final one. So now I'm going to draw much more carefully. So there's the top of his head. And of course, I can always erase what I don't like. I think his carrot has kind of this kind of a shape. And then he has just kind of button eyes, which of course are cold. And now I'm going to draw his big mouth with his big teeth and a big smile. There are his buck teeth. And maybe one of his eyes, see that eyebrow? It's kind of like he's not 100% sure if he's doing the right thing here. He's feeling a little, maybe a little bashful. And then, okay, I'm going to erase a little bit there. Okay. Darken in the inside of his mouth. Okay, so there's his head. So basically, the basic shape of his head is something like this. And then you have his nose there. So, okay, I'm going to select that and delete it and go back to my drawing here. So now this is his hair, which is just kind of grassy stuff. Okay, now comes his upper body. The little thing of coal, and now comes his arm, and I want to make a really nice stretching arm. Of course, his arm is just a stick. And then here comes his thumb, and here comes his forefinger. So, and now the flowers, and so you can draw whatever you want here. I've got some leaves hanging off. There we go. Of course, you can make these any kind of flowers. So, but hopefully, I want to inspire you just to the fun, the joy of drawing, and how you can use your imagination to draw whatever you want. Okay, now I'm going to kind of relate this arm to this one, and I'm going to kind of change this. I want to make this arm kind of out here, kind of a nice graceful, his arm is out like that. Arm. Okay, here comes his lower body part. There we go, and kind of that's the ground plane that he's sitting on, and here we have his other buttons. You notice that there's kind of a nice line. They're all following in a line. And it's because I really want to get this. He's leaning forward and chin jutting out and reaching forward. Okay, now I'm going to turn off the other layer. And there we have our Olaf drawing. Now, if you like to draw, there's what I learned at the Disney studio also is they had us look around and constantly observe how people and animals behave and then sketch those. And we use that for our characters because we want our characters, even though they can be anything, an alien or a snowman or even a plant, if you want to give them personality, they have to behave in a way that the viewers or the readers can understand, can relate to. So I love watching people and I love sketching people. So I often have little sketchbooks with me, and you guys can do this at home. You can draw your friends or your family or go to a park and sketch what people are doing. And when you do, and you can even draw them as Olaf. So you can see somebody maybe catching a frisbee and you do that quick little sketch and then draw it as Olaf. And what's funny with snowmen is that you don't just have to have, a head and a shape like this for a snowman. You could have a snowman with a giant head and a little body and a squash. You could do something like this. Maybe he's got just a little carrot and big eyes and a hat. So that's what's fun, especially with drawing snowmen, because they're made of balls of snow that can be of any size and shape. So hopefully this inspired you to do some fun drawing of your own. And I also want to show you, if you want to look up more stuff that I've done, animation or illustrations that I've done, here is my website. And do a lot of reading, because reading is good for your brain and your imagination, and drawing too. So have fun. Thanks, everybody.